Hi everyone, welcome back. We are back outside today and it is the last day of May and we are going to tackle this lawn. So it is really windy out today, so excuse if the audio isn't great. This is going to be literally the second time in my entire life that I have mown the grass. I did so one other time a few years ago. I borrowed my cousin's lawnmower and nobody ever told me how difficult it was to mow grass. I mean, it was so hard. It took me so long. I had to push so hard. It was a struggle. This year, as I've told everyone, I decided to take over doing not just the gardening of the plants, but also the lawn care. And I wanted to try and let the grass go for as long as I could, but I do need to trim it up just because, as I said before, living in the suburbs, people start to feel some type of way about the grass getting too long. I'm actually liking it though. I'm thinking it's really, really interesting. But I am going to trim it back. I'm going to try and keep it a little higher than we normally would, and I'm not going to be mowing that often. Oftentimes people will mow their lawns once a week or once every other week. I'm going to see how much I can push it. I'm going to see if I can maybe push it to once a month. Maybe if people complain too much, maybe every 3 weeks, but I'm going to see how long we can go. But I promised that I would trim the lawn today, so I'm going to do so. I just bought a new battery-powered lawnmower, and it's supposed to be self-propelled, so hopefully it'll be easier than it was for me a few years ago. I started it before I turned on the video, and I have to say it did sort of start going without me, so I turned down the speed, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I want to try and keep the lawn a little bit higher than is traditionally done. I might have to play around with the height of the blades because I did read a little bit of the instruction manual, and the setting for the height of the mower has me a little bit confused. Where they said the highest setting for the blade was, for me intuitively looked backwards. So we'll see. I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to first start on the side, just, what do people call this? I've heard people call it the hell strip, but basically the side of the lawn that's by the sidewalk, and we'll see from there. And then after that, I'm going to go to the front lawn and I'm going to cut a path through towards the backyard. I'm not going to be cutting all of the grass. I am going to try and keep some higher areas, but I'm going to try and make it look a little bit more intentional with putting pathways through and maybe trimming around the garden bed so it looks intentional, the patches that are tall and not chaotic. So hopefully mother and the neighbors won't be so upset. All right, let's get started. Why do I feel like nothing is happening? Pressing the start button helps. I really feel like I don't know what I'm doing. This is so funny. I'm laughing because I don't know if it looks like I cut this grass at all. I don't know. I'm fine with it. I'm gonna do one more pass down the middle, I guess. Okay, I don't mind it, guys. It's still maybe a little longer than it's supposed to be, but I'm happy with it. I've been avoiding this very long area for now just because I was trying to learn this thing. Step 1, actually press the start button to turn the blades on. Step 2, not difficult because the self-propelling feature, it really works. Even on the slowest setting, I sort of feel like, whoa, a little bit like it's taking me for a ride, but it's easy to control. Okay, so now I'm going to actually start trimming the really long grass. But let me just show you guys, I guess this is the seed heads from the grass, which I've never seen before. So like this seed head from this grass, I think is kind of interesting. And it's really thick right here. And what I'm finding interesting is this grass, I have no idea what kind of grass this is. Maybe I shouldn't be so enamored with it. Maybe somebody in the comments is going to tell me that this is an invasive grass and it's terrible. But you can see that this grass is different than this grass here. Completely different. And I have random patches of this kind of tall grass that's making these seed heads. So this we will probably actually see more of a difference with because it's significantly taller than the rest of the grass. But let me get this cut and then I'll go do that other side as well. And then we'll head to the front lawn. So for this part of the lawn, I'm going to mow a path to the back door, to the backyard first, and then I'm going to assess. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to mow along the edges of the garden beds to define them a little bit more. Sort of the plan is to make it everything look more intentional. But I want to try and leave more, I'm going to try and leave some of the grass taller and see how that looks and see if it's a sort of happy medium. But first, let's mow the path to the backyard, because part of that as well is I'm going to eventually put down some stepping stones as well. So first, let's mow a grass pathway. Okay, let's walk the path. And I think you guys can see, it's a little bit easier to see now. I guess partially because it's so much longer over here. It's easier to see that this is lower, that it's a bit of a path. I kind of like it. Like I said, I'm going to put some stepping stones here so it'll be a little bit easier. I don't think I'll cut it any lower right now. Now the question is, do I also cut by the borders for the beds? That was sort of the plan, right? I do really like the difference, actually. Having some areas be a little bit shorter, I do think makes this area look a little bit more intentional. So what I think I'll do for this time is I will cut along the borders and make this middle part a little bit of a triangle. Hopefully that doesn't look silly. All right, let's try it out and we'll see. The grass will always grow back. It's a plant just like any other plant. So don't need to be afraid to try something new. So for the backyard, the only thing I'm going to do today is mow a path to the vegetable garden. The rest I'm going to leave, at least for now. Again, there's going to be some revamping, but now we're in the backyard and we can't upset the neighbors, so I think I'm going to just mow the path to the garden beds just so it'll be a little bit easier to walk, but then that would probably be it. Okay, sort of same thing here. Just cut the grass a little bit lower as we walk towards the vegetable garden. I mean, I don't know. You can barely tell that it's lower. You can tell it's lower. Let's look at it from this perspective. So then you can see it definitely is lower, but it's definitely wild over here. But like I said, I kind of like it. Okay guys, today is an interesting day because it is a day of learning and learning curves. So I am now going to attempt to use this edger thing, string edger. Never even picked one up in my entire life. I'm going to try and edge along here a little bit and maybe around the oak tree, but I actually don't mind how it looks with the taller grass there. So I might leave that alone. But my idea for the edger was to edge a little closer to the garden beds, maybe instead of mowing. So I'm going to try it here and see how we do. Okay, I think that worked. I don't know why this thing has me a little nervous. I don't know why. I'm acting as if it's an open blade, because it kind of is. I actually think I'm going to leave the grass that's right under the oak tree. I have some thoughts about this area. I'm thinking next year maybe I might plant some sedge here and maybe sprinkle some wildflowers. I might put some wildflowers in this area anyway. One of you had suggested in the comments that this would be a great area for wildflowers. You were 100% right. So I will probably do that. But it's sort of later in the year, and I think I might wait till the fall to put down the wallflower seeds. So I think, but I like a little bit how it looks a little bit wild over here. So I think I'm going to leave that. Okay, guys, we're going to call it here. It looks a little bit more obvious in person than it does on camera that I did mow a pathway here. You can see that this grass is much taller than this grass. But it still looks a little wild, which isn't that kind of the point of this channel? I am trying to keep things a little wild, get a little wilder. So I like it though. I do like the taller grass. I am interested to see how it continues to develop and change throughout the rest of the season. I'm going to, probably right after this, going to go get some stepping stones, put along this pathway, as well as some measures to edge the oak tree soft landing garden bed, but I think I'm going to move tools away for now. But today was fun, definitely a bit of a learning curve, but I like it. We'll keep playing around with different patterns and designs, and eventually we'll settle into what we want the lawn to look like. But right now, I'm actually pretty happy with it. So thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I hope you get a chance to get outside and enjoy your garden. Until next time, guys, bye.